One of the most significant medical developments of the coming decade may already be in clinical trials, and most people have almost no accurate information about it. mRNA cancer vaccines represent a genuine paradigm shift in how cancer could be treated and potentially prevented. Over 120 clinical trials have been conducted since the early 2000s, testing mRNA vaccines against cancers, including melanoma, brain cancer, breast cancer, lung cancer, and prostate cancer. The results are promising enough that major research institutions and pharmaceutical companies are investing heavily in this technology. At the same time, a wave of misinformation about mRNA technology, largely an offshoot of COVID-19 vaccine skepticism, is actively threatening public trust in this breakthrough before it has even reached widespread clinical use. Understanding what mRNA cancer vaccines actually are, what the evidence currently shows, and why the misinformation surrounding them is both false and specifically harmful is important for anyone following the future of cancer medicine. Start with how mRNA technology works, because the mechanism is specific and worth understanding correctly. mRNA stands for messenger RNA, which is a molecule that carries genetic instructions from DNA to the cellular machinery that builds proteins. mRNA vaccines work by delivering synthetic mRNA instructions into the body's cells, which then temporarily read those instructions and produce a specific protein. The immune system encounters that protein, recognizes it as something to respond to, and builds an immune memory. The mRNA itself degrades quickly and does not interact with DNA. It does not change genetic material. It provides temporary instructions that expire. In the context of COVID-19 vaccines, the mRNA instructed cells to make the spike protein of the coronavirus, training the immune system to recognize and attack the virus. For cancer vaccines, the principle is the same, but the target is different. Cancer cells carry proteins on their surfaces called neoantigens that are created by the mutations that cause the cancer. These neoantigens are present on tumor cells but not on healthy cells. An mRNA cancer vaccine can be designed to deliver instructions for producing those specific neoantigen proteins, teaching the immune system to identify and attack cells carrying them. This is why mRNA cancer vaccines can potentially be personalized to the specific mutations in an individual patient's tumor. The promise of this approach is substantial. Current cancer treatments, including chemotherapy and radiation, often damage healthy tissue alongside cancerous tissue because they are not specific enough to distinguish between the two. Immunotherapy approaches using checkpoint inhibitors have shown significant results for some cancers, but do not work for all patients or all cancer types. A personalized mRNA vaccine that trains the immune system to recognize the exact proteins unique to a patient's specific tumor offers a level of precision that no previous treatment approach has achieved. The clinical results accumulating in trials reflect this potential. In glioblastoma, an aggressive form of brain cancer with very limited effective treatments and a historically poor prognosis, personalized mRNA vaccines have been shown in trials to rapidly activate immune responses against the tumor and improve survival outcomes. In melanoma, combination approaches using mRNA vaccines alongside existing immunotherapy drugs have shown significantly reduced recurrence rates in clinical trials. Research published in Nature has documented the approach's effectiveness in breast cancer contexts. The body of evidence is still building, and regulatory approval for most indications is not yet established, but the trajectory is consistent and the science is mechanistically sound. Now for the misinformation problem, which researchers who study health communication are tracking with genuine concern. The term turbo cancer emerged on social media beginning in 2022 and spread widely in the context of COVID-19 vaccine skepticism. It refers to the claim that mRNA vaccines cause unusually aggressive cancers. This claim is not supported by any credible scientific evidence. Large population studies involving millions of vaccinated individuals have found no increased cancer risk following COVID-19 vaccination. The scientific and medical community is unanimous on this. mRNA vaccines do not cause cancer, do not accelerate existing cancers, and do not modify DNA. The mechanisms through which the turbo cancer narrative spreads are well documented. Emotionally compelling individual stories presented as evidence misinterpretation of animal studies conducted in contexts unrelated to human vaccination, misuse of adverse event reporting systems that collect reports without confirming causation, and the recycling of older vaccine myths repackaged for mRNA technology. Scientific-sounding language in posts that cite no actual peer-reviewed evidence gives the misinformation a surface credibility that makes it more resistant to correction. What makes this particularly consequential is not simply that it is wrong. Misinformation about medical treatments has measurable effects on patient behavior. Research on cancer treatment specifically has shown that patients who rely on unproven approaches rather than evidence-based treatments face substantially higher mortality. Oncologists are already reporting that they spend significant clinical time addressing myths and false information that patients have encountered online, time that is not available for actual medical care. For mRNA cancer vaccines specifically, the concern is that a public primed by years of misinformation about mRNA technology will decline cancer vaccines when they become available, even when those vaccines represent a genuine advance over existing treatment options. This is not hypothetical. The anti-vaccine information ecosystem that produced the turbo cancer narrative is actively monitoring and targeting emerging mRNA medical applications. The researchers studying this pattern describe it as a preemptive misinformation campaign against technology that has not yet reached the clinic. The response that health communication researchers recommend involves proactive and transparent communication rather than reactive corrections. Addressing public concerns early, before vaccines are widely deployed, and building genuine understanding of how the technology works, rather than simply reassuring people that it is safe, produces better outcomes than trying to correct entrenched misinformation after it has spread. Equipping clinicians to have effective conversations about mRNA technology with patients who have concerns, without dismissing those concerns, is a critical component of the strategy. The science of mRNA cancer vaccines is advancing rapidly. Over 100 clinical trials, consistent mechanistic evidence, and early results in multiple cancer types all point in the same direction. This technology has genuine potential to change what it means to be diagnosed with cancer, both as a treatment and as a preventive tool for people at high genetic risk. Whether that potential is realized will depend not only on the science, but on whether public understanding of the science can keep pace with the misinformation attempting to undermine it. New videos every day covering the medical developments and health science that actually matter. Subscribe and stay with us. There is an important distinction worth making explicit before closing. mRNA cancer vaccines are a different category of intervention from preventive vaccines like those for flu or COVID-19. Most of the cancer vaccine work currently in trials is therapeutic, meaning it is designed to treat existing cancer by training the immune system to attack tumor cells that are already present, not to prevent cancer from occurring in the first place in a healthy person. Some preventive applications are being explored, particularly for people with high genetic cancer risk, but the primary near-term application is as a cancer treatment. This distinction matters because it changes how you should think about the risk-benefit calculation for a cancer patient, considering participation in a trial or, eventually, receiving an approved vaccine. For a patient with glioblastoma, a cancer with a median survival of approximately 15 months and few effective treatment options, a personalized mRNA vaccine that activates immune response against the tumor represents a potentially meaningful extension of survival with a risk profile that is far more favorable than the disease itself. The turbo cancer narrative, by casting mRNA technology as dangerous, would lead exactly these patients away from an intervention that the evidence suggests could help them. The scientific progress on cancer vaccines is real, documented, and continuing. Protecting that progress from misinformation is not a political act. It is a